Good evening, campers, dreamers, and babysitters, and welcome back to not another recommendation video. No, I'm doing something a little different, and I say that a lot, but this time I really mean it. And I'm going to be talking about 5 things, but these are some things that I think are kind of important, and I do want to get off my chest. For those of you who have been around the channel for a little bit, you know that I'm a massive Terrifier fan, and I've done a lot of very successful videos on this channel talking about not just Terrifier 1 and 2, but also most recently Terrifier 3. You guys have been eating this content up, and I so very much appreciate it. But with all of the love and support, I have gotten a lot of comments from people who just don't see Terrifier the same way that we do. And nothing wrong with that, but there is a lingering question that keeps getting brought up. Why do you like these movies? And I mean, I'm not the only one. I know tons of my content creator friends in the horror space that discuss Terrifier get this comment too. It's something that it just seems like no matter how many videos you put out there talking about your love for the franchise and how many times you can really sit there and say, hey, here's XYZ of why I really enjoy it, it's always going to miss the mark. So if you are one of those people who's left a comment on my video saying, why do you like Terrifier? Why do you support these devilish satanic films? This is for you. I'm making this specifically for you. Right there. Nobody else, just you. Starting things off, I really want to talk about probably the biggest element that has turned a few people away, has made people reconsider checking this film out, and that is absolutely that it is definitely designed, definitely no stranger to, but pushing boundaries. And I would dare to say that Terrifier 3 does exactly that, but does it responsibly. I know for some of you that's blasphemous. Why? How can you do the things you're doing in this movie responsibly? I've gotten a lot of pushback for saying that in some of our other videos, but I mean it. I think that Damien Leone is very intentionally walking this line between taking us to the edge, maybe even dangling us over a little bit, but never fully committing to full-blown depravity. And where that primarily comes in, where my point kind of lies there, is the handling of the children death in this. Because yes, unlike many of you believe, this is not the only film to ever kill a child in it. There's many horror films that have done it, and many films that aren't horror that have done it. This one just so happens to be the easiest punching bag there is out there, and for my money, I think that they handled it with care and grace. Yes, you hear some things, you see some aftermath, but you never, ever see Art the Clown actively slaughtering children. It is something that is there to kind of take the people who are anticipating crazy kills and just getting them to the little bit of that line. Like I said, dangling us over the edge and saying, I could drop you, but I won't. Because like he has said, like the creator himself, Damien Leone, has said, there is something that happens when you push a character like Art the Clown too far. When you make him something so unabashedly unforgivable that he can't have any of that kind of funniness to him, any of that charm left, there's nothing for the audience to grab onto. And I firmly believe in that. And I think that they handle this topic in particular with a lot of care and responsibility.
I don't think any subject is too taboo to tackle, but I think if I decide that I am going to tackle it, then I have to be somewhat sensitive in regards to the execution, or making sure that the execution of such a topic remains tolerable or palatable to the audience. So I try and get right up to the line, step right over it, push the boundaries a little bit, but while trying to maintain some level of mass appeal. Because I think if these movies are just gore with nothing else, I think that's and if that's what they're labeled as, I think that's a disservice to the Art the Clown character, because he really does he could appeal to your casual horror movie fan.
Moving into my next point, I want to discuss compelling characters. And primarily, I want to discuss a compelling final girl. Yes, Sienna Shaw, in my opinion, is one of the best final girls that we have had in decades. I really think since Sydney, we haven't had a final girl that is this impactful, that I really felt from the first few frames that she was on screen this kind of innocence contrasted with this ability to go head to head with our slasher villain. I absolutely think that Lauren Lavera crushes this role. I think that what they decide to do with her in number 3 shows exactly the kind of caliber and attention to detail and care that Lauren and Damien are putting into this character. Because yes, we've seen our characters go through horrible shit and then deal with, you know, the trauma arc. We've seen it done a dozen times before. And admittedly, there aren't a lot of new things that they're doing in this, but they're just doing them right. They're doing them properly. We're not pushing the boundaries. She doesn't have a drug addiction. She's not sitting there just losing herself at the bottom of a bottle. She feels like somebody who's actively trying to heal, but something, a clown dressed as Santa Claus, some would say, is preventing that. And I thought that was such a smart take. It was such a way to keep this character interesting and moving and relatable, again, without going too far over the edge. And then having the balls to put her through her Empire Strikes Back moment of having that ending where she just gets the shit kicked out of her, she loses, and then just leaving her there to deal with Art, hopefully 1, maybe 2 more times. It was really, really strong, really well done, and I think probably, in my mind, one of the biggest pieces that makes me fall in love with this movie and this franchise. Next up, we got to talk about Carnage Candy, and of course, I'm talking about these effects, man. Like, Terrifier 2 put on some incredible gore effects, and they absolutely make your stomach turn. Terrifier 1 absolutely does the same thing, but Terrifier 3, although I don't think we get kind of the spectacular pizzazz of that bedroom scene from 2, we get a lot of really high quality shit here, and it just goes to show just how far the team has been able to evolve. Now, Damien has been very, very vocal about how he got to take a lot of that off of his plate and hire a couple of other people to come in and do this. I believe it was Christian Tinsley, who came in and did the effects for this one. And man, the dude absolutely showed up. And the thing that really surprised me was there's a good majority of the kills in here that totally feel like Damien Leone kills. I don't know what it is about the gore and the blood and the way that he tends to do things in his movies with Phil Falcone, but those two just have a kind of wackiness to their blood and their gore. Now, if they want to get serious and they want to get traumatizing, oh, they can get there, but I'm telling you, dude, when a guy is getting a chainsaw shoved up his ass, I am laughing my ass off in the theater watching that. Like, it's gross, it's insane, and it's impactful, and it never really loses that impact. I mean, if you're squeamish, if you're not sitting here trying to watch a bunch of this, I think you probably won't want to watch these movies. You probably aren't watching this video. But if you're on the fence, if you're good with gore films, but you think these are too much, I think the thing that you can look at and kind of appreciate is the amount of effort and the amount of, like, care it takes to put into these effects to pull them off the way they do. These are not just simple blood effects. These are rigs. These are effects, prosthetics that take time. They take days, weeks to plan, prep, and get made. All for our insane enjoyment of the Carnage Candy. As I sit here, Terrifier 3 is absolutely demolishing the box office right now. It is something that we have not seen in a horror film since probably like Halloween 2018. And, well, that tells me only one thing, and that is what my number 2 here is discussing. And, of course, I'm talking about Art the Clown hitting horror icon status. It's been a long time since we've had a horror icon kind of break into the mainstream so aggressively and be accepted with such open arms by not only the horror community, but people in general, that I don't think I've really even seen this in my lifetime. I think like Ghostface was probably the last one. If not that, maybe Jigsaw, but really, this is the first time I've ever seen somebody that I could potentially put up there with Michael, Freddy, Leatherface, Jason, the big ones. And that is something to admire. That is something that I think for many horror fans we thought was dead for a long time. But they managed to do it here with David Howard Thornton's, I mean, just maniacally brilliant performance. I can't think of another character that has just made the impact that Art has. I mean, there is merch, t-shirts everywhere for Art the Clown. I mean, he has his own sections in Spirit Halloween already. It's insane. I think that the icon status of Art the Clown is certainly something to get excited about. It's certainly something to admire, and definitely something you can't deny. I think that if you are going into this franchise, you are in a better position now than you were going into Terrifier, because you already have so much exposure to this character. There's already so much built up that when you actually sit down and watch these movies, you're going to be seeing the best iteration of the character so far. And finally, with my number one, my major point, my number one go-to whenever anybody asks me why I watch these movies and why I think you need to watch Terrifier 3, and that is the fact that they kept it independent. Independent horror has become such a big piece of my life over the last 2 years with this channel. Luke and I have watched so much horror that is made with no budget, with very little budget, but independent horror. It's become the lifeblood of this channel, really. Like, I mean, so many of you have hopped on board because of our reviews for movies that hardly anybody knows about. And it is something that I really value as a viewer, because yes, we have our Universal stuff, our Blumhouse stuff, and you know, all these big tentpole studios releasing horror films that they just don't really do anything for me personally, and I know for a lot of you they don't. Terrifier was in a unique position after 2. They had offers from many big studios to say, hey, let's buy the property, let's dumb it down just a little bit on that gore, and let's make this a mainstream thing. But they turned it all down, they kept it independent, and they got to make the movie they wanted to. And now they are reaping all of the benefits from it, with the box office, the support, the love. It is a Cinderella story at the end of the day. They came from the dirt, making movies for, you know, $5 and some popsicle sticks, and now they are just absolutely seeing this meteoric success, and they deserve every ounce of that. And the fact that they turned down the studios and they said, no, we're going to keep this thing pure, we're going to keep this thing for the fans, you have all the respect in the world from me for that. And I think if there's any reason that you should give Terrifier 3 especially a chance and go out and support it, and why I think it deserves your support as a horror fan, it's absolutely the fact that, again, it's independent. They did it themselves, and they kept it for us. They didn't sell out. They literally said, this is for you guys. You love this franchise. You made this franchise, and we're just going to keep taking care of it just like you took care of us. It's admirable. It's something every filmmaker who ever wants to make movies wants to be able to say, and the fact that they're doing it and they've put their best foot forward every time, I can't think of another reason why not to go out and support these movies. Well, whether you agree with me on any of these points, completely disagree with me, I think this was very important. I don't know if this video is going to do very well. I hope it does. I hope it resonates. If it did with you, please give this video a like. Share it with your friends who love Terrifier. Maybe those who are on the fence. But yeah, I think that this is just something that I feel good about. I feel good after getting all of that out and really giving you guys who have asked me that question the answers I hope you were looking for. I mean, some of you I know are doing it antagonistically. I don't hate you for it. I get it. It upsets you. But just know that there are reasons why people like me go crazy for these movies, why we love it, why we love Art the Clown, why we love all these characters. It's because it's kind of something that is pretty rare. It's something we're not getting very often anymore. And the fact that we can celebrate it and love it, and that it can have the kind of success that it's having, I mean, I just love being in the club, man. Don't hate the player, you know, don't hate the game. This is great. So I'm sorry. If it's not for you, it's not for you. But yeah, guys, that's going to wrap it up here for me. Let me know if you like this video. I have a couple more of these kind of lined up for maybe like 5 reasons you should watch this, or 5 reasons you should give this a chance. And, you know, if this is cool, then I'll keep doing it. If not, I'll go back to recommending movies. But I thought this could be something fun we could mix in. Again, if you're new to the channel, thank you for watching this video, and I really hope you'll subscribe. And yeah, I'm going to leave it there. So until next time, I'm Dylan Newell, And remember, stay scared.
Do the hard shit, gonna do it live. Cause Splattercast kick it every day they live. Splattercast, gonna smash your ass. 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 Splattercast, gonna smash your ass.